Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here is part 6 on the 1966 Mark I GT Ford Cortina that we've been doing a full repair and respray on. The previous videos have gone right through the repair, prime, mask, prep and first coat of base coat stage, and this video will just be going through our second and third coats of base coat. I decided to do a full video set on this car from start to finish, though there has been a lot of editing. However, a lot of the longer clips I've actually been leaving as one, so all this base coat application will be staying in the entire video, and all I've done is stuck a few clips together. I'll do my best to keep you guys interested for the entire video and give you guys as much technical info as I possibly can without repeating myself. However, it does get a little bit hard, especially on these longer videos where you're just doing the same thing for the entire video. The first thing that you may have noticed is that I'm using the Lumaiii Spray Light. So the Lumaiii Spray Gun Light is what I'm using, and I got this sent out from the Lumaiii company. My first thoughts on it was, wow, I can't believe someone actually made that, and I thought it was overpriced. I thought, you know, it might be around $100, $150 maximum, but then I went on their website and found out how much they were selling it for. They're like $314 US, and I had some guy say that they wanted $60 for freight. Now, when I did pull it out of the box the first time, the thing sort of nearly broke apart in my hands, and I ended up repairing it, thankfully. Then with all that over, my opinion on it still wasn't quite that high, but then I started to use it, and the first time I used it was with some clear coat on a silver bumper bar, and I ended up finding that the reflection was actually too great, and I had less vision with the spray gun light on, and it was showing up things that I probably didn't really need to see. It was making the clear look milky, but then turn the light off and it wasn't looking milky, but it's just how it was going on. But then I did find that with the darker colors it was a lot easier, and you were getting less reflection from the surface that you're trying to paint and not getting blinded so much, and it wasn't so bad. But I really did find that it wasn't quite necessary in a spray booth until I got to this job here, which is, as you can see, that first coat, you can still see just about every single patch of 1K primer where I've gone and done a couple of repairs. I'll probably cut through my 2K primer, and the 1K primer is a lot darker, so it's taking a lot longer to cover. So without that spray gun light, you could just see them. You could still see them, but they really didn't show up as bad. So I just thought, for what it's worth, I'll whack the spray gun light on. It's not blinding me on this specific color, and I do believe that it was helping me. I ended up ditching it for the clear coat. I decided it probably wasn't really necessary, although looking back on it, I probably should have just left it on and seen how it went, because there actually was one or two spots that I left a little bit dry on this, and hey, it may have helped me. I still do believe that they are way overpriced. At the end of the day, it is just a couple of LEDs on a bit of a plastic base. If you halve the price on that, you would more than double your sales, and you would get your product out to more people on the market and probably make more money that way. I do understand businesses have a lot of research and development and stuff like that, and they probably want to try and recoup their costs at the start, but you really have to find that happy medium between cost efficiency and making a profit and making it affordable just for the everyday person, which I believe it's probably not. Look, if they hadn't have sent it out to me, I probably wouldn't have bought one. In fact, I definitely wouldn't have bought one. I would have bought myself a DeVilbiss GTI Pro or a GPI, which is the one that you see in my hand. You could get one of them for $300, and then you could get yourself one of those head torches like you have when you go camping, and you'd probably have a similar effect. Not quite as good, because this shows you what you're doing exactly when you're doing it. I would like it to have a dimmer switch on it. Some of those head torches do have dimmer switches on it. I can't see why they shouldn't have built that onto this, because as I said with the silvers, it is just way too much and you'd get absolutely blinded. And unless I was painting at night when I had a blackout, which I guess the blackout would turn your compressor off too, then I probably would never use it on a silver again. Anyway, onto the base coat that I'm using. It's a No Mix solid color red. The color code is 854 and it's a Fiat color, so they call it Rosso Corsa. It's just about on the line of calling it an orange, but it's that's probably just still in the category of red. So I ended up mixing up 2.5 litres to start with, and I just mixed it up in-house and had a look at the tinters that I needed and just ordered the ones that we needed in to mix the colour up. So 2.5 was what I started off with, and then after getting my first 2 coats of colour on the body, I had a look at how much I had left, and I'm like, you know what, I'm probably going to need a little bit more to get around there. By the time you've got your first couple of coats on, you'll have an idea of how many pots you're going to be using to get a coat on the entire car. Turns out I was using 2 pots, so I needed to mix up another, I think it was 300 or 500 mils to finish the job off, and then I had a little bit left over just for touch-ups. So obviously it was mixed up straight off the machine, no colour matching. I just found a colour card and had a look at the original paint, so I made it, because the owner just said he wanted it to look exactly the same as what it was before. Originally this car was actually some sort of a dusty grey blue type colour. You can see that in the parcel shelf, some of the places where the windscreens had been pulled out and that. But this car was actually an ex-race car, so obviously red cars go faster, so they would have gained a few horsepower after they resprayed it. So the story goes with this car is that the guy that we did the car for, he used to go and watch this thing race with his father up at Barbagallo Raceway, which is just north of Perth. And then obviously the opportunity has came up for him to go and buy this car, so he's decided to do it all up for his dad, and he's going to give it to his dad, so that's pretty cool. These Cortinas are obviously made off the British design, but they were built in Australia. Same with the Minis, again, we did make them in Australia as well, and they used to race at Bathurst, which is a very famous Australian motor race. I would imagine that most motor racing enthusiasts would know of Bathurst if they didn't know of any other races here in Australia, and if you don't, just type into a YouTube search Bathurst Motor Racing Australia, and you'll probably be pretty impressed with some of the videos that you see. I definitely enjoy having a bit of a flick through some of those videos. Although I'm not a Ford Cortina expert, I do really like this car, and I've definitely kind of fallen in love with it after doing this full respray on it, and I think we've done it definitely a bit of justice. Oh yeah, so the gun settings that I'm using on this DeVilbiss GPI, which is actually the very first time I ever used it, you may have picked that up in the last video, is full fan, 4 turns out with the fluid at 20 psi, and this thing has got a really nice big fan on it, as you can see. Gets a nice amount of paint on. Obviously you don't want your paint too thick, otherwise it's just going to take a long time to come out and you won't have very much flow of fluid coming out of the gun. Obviously if it's too thin, especially on a colour like this, being that it's the red solvent base, you would just get really poorly coverage, which is actually what started happening to me. I started having some pretty average coverage, but as I said, if I had had it much thicker, well, then it would just take a really long time to come out. Now, this is my new GoPro 4 that you guys are watching from. In the next video, I had an idea. I've had this idea for a long time, and I will be including a bit of tripod and point of view video at the exact same time. So I had the GoPro 3 on the tripod, and I had the GoPro 4 on my head mount, so you'll actually be able to see just a different point of view at the same time on the video. I'm not going to say that it's going to be something I'll do very often, but I wanted to do it for a long time just for something different, and that will be up in the next video, in the clear coat video. It's going to take me a little bit of time to edit to actually get those synchronized, but I'm sure I'll get there. Oh, and the only real downfall I've found with this GoPro 4 is just there. As you see, we've lost a bit of footage because it overheats on me. For some reason, anything over sort of 20 minutes, the GoPro just gets stinking hot, and then you look at it and it says too hot, shutting down. Sometimes I just got to take it and put it in my freezer in between coats so it cools down, so I can actually get you enough footage for the clear coat stage. A little bit annoying. I've actually sent it back since. They sent me another one, and the new one did exactly the same thing. So it's just a GoPro fault. Nothing that I think I can do with it. I got the top of the line one. I think it was like the GoPro Silver, which is the one that has the highest quality video footage. I think the black one comes with the backing screen, but it didn't quite go as high resolution. The only real downfall is that it does overheat, but all in all, it was definitely worth buying, and the video quality is totally amazing compared to the 3. You'll probably actually be able to pick that up in that next video. Anyway, this is our third coat, and really just absolutely smashing it on. So it's obviously a solid color, no real dry spray or no sort of dusty metallic that you have to go and tack rag in between coats. sometimes on a really warm day, which this was about 25, 26 degrees, so not overly hot, just a pretty perfect day for spray painting actually. In the middle of winter you would probably set your spray booth from 25 to 30 degrees. I prefer painting in a bit more warmth. I'm a 30 degree type guy myself. I just find it dries your base coat down a little bit quicker and it lets you continue on with the next step a little bit sooner. But that's probably just my smash background, so my smash repairs background, where I just try to paint as many cars as I can per day, just one after the next, then pumping them out to make the boss money and in turn make myself as much money as I can. But hey, at the moment I'm in Thailand. I'm sort of spending this as a full-time job. I've been flat out working on my website, categorizing every single one of my videos, adding thumbnails, adding titles, and adding a bit more info so that you guys can read. And once that's all done, I'll start doing some more blogs as well, so adding pictures and a little bit more behind the scenes, the kind of thing that you can also read rather than just watching as well. The best way to keep up to date with that is to either do one of two things. Check me out on Facebook. I do post most of the stuff that I post on my website over to Facebook. However, if you want to get absolutely everything, there's something called RSS feed, and there's a little symbol up the top and down the bottom of my website. It looks a little bit like the Wi-Fi symbol on your computer. If you click that, it'll actually take you to a Google website, which will allow you to install an app on your browser, RSS feed reader. Then you just type in the name of my website, thegunman.net.au. It will stay up the top, and every single time I update my website, you get a little bit of a notification. And then from there you can decide whether or not you want to check out that post or not. I probably made it sound a little bit more complicated than what it is, but it really is easy. So yeah, just check out that Wi-Fi symbol on my website, click on that, and I'm sure you'll figure out the rest from there. If you're having troubles, hit us up, leave it in a comment, and I'll actually do my best to get back to you. That's another good thing about being over here in Thailand, is that I do have more time on my hands to answer questions and make videos and make my videos better and make my website. So I'm still actually having a month off at the moment. By the time you guys are watching this, I've probably already started working, but I'm just getting a little bit ahead on my videos. I only put 2 videos uploaded a week. But yeah, at the moment I've been having a lot of fun editing up this GT Cortina project. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. It's looking like there's going to be 2 more videos after this, so probably 8 videos all up. The next one's just going to be dedicated to clear coat. I think that's another 30-minute video where I included just about every single minute of footage. Maybe 1 or 2 bits are going to be cut out, but most of it's going to be there. The one after that's going to be a little bit of fit up and cut and polish, and then a final look at the car, and that's it for the project, and I'll move on to the next one. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to say for a while, there's this other guy who's just started his own little YouTube channel called The Big Guy Garage. I'll be putting a annotation or a little card up the top there, so check him out. He's a pretty nice guy. He makes some cool videos. He does sort of different videos than me. I think he does quite a good job. I see potential in this guy. Go check him out on Instagram as well. I'm sure he's got a Facebook page too, but he's definitely on the YouTube. So yeah, check out The Big Guy Garage. I don't usually actually do shout outs like that on my channel, but for some reason he made a couple of comments on my videos. I checked his channel out, and I just thought that you guys would actually probably be quite interested in some of the stuff that he's got as well, and he does seem like a nice guy too. I don't see a fellow YouTuber as competition. I don't believe I've got any competition. Just because you watch someone else's video, it doesn't stop you from watching mine, and that's the way I look at it. It's a community, and we all have something to put in. At the end of the day, you guys are just following my career. That's the way I look at it. I'm just sharing these jobs that I'm doing. I mean, you guys are obviously, some of them are picking up more than others. I know I've got a wide audience. Some people are salesmen, some people are paint reps, some people are apprentices, some people are DIY guys, some people are experienced tradesmen, and they probably know 99% of the stuff that I'm saying anyway, but just like to watch the videos. Even people that will probably never pick up a spray gun in their life, but just interested in how it's done and the procedure. I know that some people have watched my videos and just said, wow, I did not actually realize that there was so much involved in spray painting a car. They probably just thought it's get the paint, spray it on. Like some people said to my uncle one day, they said, because he had a panel shop, and they said, oh, well, you've got the colour in the gun, do you want to just paint that? And he just had enough of this person just basically disrespecting our trade and thinking it's just, well, you got the colour in the gun, you can just do me a $200 job. So he did it. He did exactly what they said. While he had the colour in the gun, he sprayed this spot. Didn't do any prep work, didn't do any masking. So when the owner comes back to pick up his car, he has a look at it and says, "What the hell have you done here?" And he goes, "Mate, you told me to paint that when I had the colour in the gun, so that's exactly what I did." And he didn't ask him for any more freebies after that. But you're always going to get customers like that, I guess, no matter what kind of business you're in. I love the ones that come up to a car when you've painted, say for instance, a bonnet, and they'll come straight up to the rear bumper bar without even looking at their bonnet. They'll come up to a bit of damage that they obviously knew was there, come straight up to it and say that was never there, and then expect it to be fixed for free. And most of the time, the bosses, from my experience, just have to say yes, unless they made a point of noting the damage on a piece of paper or actually taking photos of it. Well, then they've just got to let it go through and just fix it. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. You'll be surprised too. Sometimes it's the ones that you would least expect, the ones with the most amount of money, because the way they got there was by screwing people over like they're just about to do to you. Anyway, now what have I got? Another 5 minutes that I've got to come up with something to rant on about. So what can I talk about? Anyone who wants any questions answered, make sure you leave them in a comment, even if it's a 2-page essay. If it is a really long answer, I may not get back to you in that question as such. I might leave you a quick answer and then actually get back to you in a spot like this, in a video where I've actually run out of stuff to say. I will just be repeating myself here from the earlier videos, but I'll give you guys a quick run through the preparation on this car. First was to hit the worst areas, so I had the driver's side quarter panel, which was caved right in. I had to grind that back, and I've got my little Roll-Lock mini grinder, air-powered thing, and that grinds off all the paint quite quickly, so I took it right back to bare metal. I then got my spot puller, welded some little studs to it, and it's got a slide hammer on it that helps you pull that steel back out, or get it most of the way out, to stop you from just using so much body filler. Once I had it to a point that I was happy with, I ground it back again to get rid of any of the burnt patches, and then put some body filler in. Once I had some body filler in there, I got my mini grinder again, hit any of the affected areas with rust that were rusted out. So ground them back. I then got my rust killer and sprayed as much as I could from the inside and the outside to penetrate into that rust. You've then got to leave that for at least 24 hours, so the longer you leave it the better, because it is a water-based product, and it does take a little bit longer to dry. Obviously the temperature in the environment that you're in will vary. If you're in a highly humid or even extremely cold environment, it may even pay just to get a bit of heat onto it, or even just some airflow, so a bit of a fan if you're in a highly humid area, or the heat if you're in an extremely cold area. But in a fairly dry, warm climate where I am in Perth, just leaving it for a day or two is all you really need to do. But during the time I was waiting for it to dry out, I started doing my filler repairs. So there was dents and dangs and scratches and stuff like that. I just went over it with 180 grit first to scuff it up to allow your body filler to stick to it. Then I put my body filler in, sanded that out with 80 grit on the worst of it, and even 180 grit if it was only a small repair. But the final grade before priming was 180 grit for the repaired areas and 320 grit for all the edges on one of those softback sanding sponge. Once that was all done, I then gave it a good blowdown, obviously, cleaning all the dust off it, and then put it in the booth, masked it up. Got a good 4 coats of primer on it, 2 coats on the repairs, then 2 coats over the entire thing. Let that bake right out. So I got my infrared curing lights. Some of you guys will probably remember that stage. I did include that in earlier videos. I got the infrared curing lights. That was mainly to help with any shrink back, and then gave it a good block down with 180 grit. Once it was all blocked down with 180 grit, I hit it with 320. I then sanded all my edges with 320 grit, and then the final grade before masking it up for paint was 500 grit. And again, obviously giving it an even better blow off this time, even for up to half an hour. Open all the doors up, get into every little nook and cranny inside those door jams in your boot. Clean the entire car, clean your windows, clean your booth out, put water down, sweep it out. Anything that you can think of to eliminate dust, because if you're anything like me, you're going to hate cut and polishing, and it is the worst part of spray painting because it's time consuming. It also makes your final presentation look a little bit better, and polishing just sucks, basically. So that's the base coat down. Ended up putting 3 coats on. I put that last coat on real wet because it was like there was a few spots that I could see were not quite covered. Real happy with the way this GPI has been performing. Absolutely awesome gun. And I decided to put the Lumaiii light back on again. It was actually quite helpful on this color because it really wasn't covering, and it was showing me the spots that were and weren't covered. So I wasn't so wrapped with it first couple of times I used it. I was actually getting blinded, but this is a darker color, so I wasn't getting such a reflection from the panel, but it was still actually showing me a bit better what I was doing. But making good progress and time to mix some clear up. I'll give this gun a clean out, and I'm going to use this one for clear coat as well. I might ditch the light for the clear coat, probably not really necessary, but give that a quick flush through, clean my pot out, and 2:1 is the ratio of that clear, and I'll probably go 10%, maybe a touch more of reducer because it's a high solid clear. So hope you guys have been enjoying this series up to date. Next video, as I mentioned before, we're going to be doing the clear coat stage using the exact same gun. It's going to be a long video. It's going to have a bit of something new for the Gunman. As I said before, where we're going to have the two different point of views. We're going to have a little box in the corner, which will be from the tripod view, and most of the video is going to be from my point of view. As always, be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Make sure you do go over and check out my website, thegunman.net.au, where I've been categorizing every single one of my videos. That's taken quite a long time, but I am definitely happy with how it's coming along. Make sure you check out the rest of my social media. You'll also be able to find links on that website or in the description of this video down below. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Or as they would say here in Thailand, Lang Jak Thi Kun Sek Sing Gan Du Video. Bye Lap Bye Si Sawat Di Kap. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.